I'm Brittney Saunders and welcome to Big Business, the place where business is far from boring, and today I'm recording on Gadigal land. Now, I somehow managed to build an empire from my garage and I'm here to share it all with you, from the wins, the huge mistakes, the challenging times and funny moments in between. So whether you're in business already, you're wanting to start, or you're not even in business at all and you're just looking for some inspiration, you want to hear a good story or the tea, this is the podcast for you. Coming up in today's episode, we're talking all things sizing. At FAYT, our size range starts at 6 and goes right through to size 26. We offer our full size range in every single style that we make, both online and throughout all of our stores. So why do some brands only go to a 12 or a 14 or a 16? Why do some brands only do some styles in extended sizing and then others not? And how can FAYT offer such a great size range, but other big brands don't? I'm going to be sharing a lot of my thoughts with you on this topic today. So as you know, time is money, so let's get down to business. Now, I've got to give a massive shout out to one of my followers on my Big Business Podcast Instagram account, whose name is Caitlin. I won't expose your whole name. Caitlin sent me a DM that was quite lengthy, and it's what inspired me to make this episode. I feel like making this episode was always on my to-do list, but she's kind of mapped out the whole episode for me. So shout out to you, Caitlin. This episode's for you, and I'm going to be DMing it to you when it comes out. Caitlin has sent through a bunch of amazing questions. So her DM starts with this: it's no secret that FAYT is leading the way in size-inclusive fashion. This is a huge gap in the market, especially in physical stores. Why are you one of the only brands that does this? What a good question. And I haven't written down anything else for this episode, so I'm quite literally just swinging it here. So why are we one of the only brands that does this? There's a further part to the question too. There's obviously some brands making an effort with having curve ranges, etc. But your point of difference is that every item is available in every size. So why? I'm not saying that we're the only brand that does the sizing that we do. There are a lot of others out there. But in saying that, it is still a small amount of brands in comparison to how many brands are actually out there. So why are we one of the only ones that does this? Now, the funny thing is, on this topic, and when talking about inclusive sizing and inclusive fashion, I don't know if anyone notices this, but I and we don't call ourselves an inclusive clothing brand. We don't use those words anywhere. We don't, preach that. We don't say we're an inclusive fashion brand, whereas like maybe a lot of other people would. And the reason for that is inclusivity goes a lot further beyond just sizing. Inclusivity is a whole lot of other things. That's why you'll never actually see me saying I own an inclusive fashion brand, because when it comes to inclusivity, there's so many different avenues of it. We obviously do sizes 6 through to 26. We could do sizes lower, we could do sizes higher. Like, there really is no end to inclusivity, and it also goes in different areas beyond sizing. So that's one little fun fact for you all. I never actually say that. And one of the funny things about us doing sizes 6 to 26 is I forget how powerful it is that we do that, because that is the norm to us. We have done our size range for however many years now. And mind you, we never started out doing all of these sizes. It was something that I built over years. And I think that's a really hard thing for anyone that is getting into fashion. I don't think it's achievable for someone to launch a clothing brand and straight off the bat offer every single size, because obviously the more sizes that you're doing, the more of a commitment you're making, the more of a scary thing it is to do. We started out with just sizes 6 to 14 like most brands do, and I very quickly learned we need to do more than this. So I then added 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. It was a gradual thing, and I don't want to be out here saying like I own this inclusive fashion brand and we've always done amazing. Like, I started small like everyone else and like slowly worked my way up. But we've obviously been doing these sizes for however many years now, and I always say that I live in my little bubble in Newcastle where it's just FAYT, and it feels like I'm living in a FAYT bubble and there's nothing else in the world. And I often forget just how powerful it is that we do those sizes. And I've said this before. I'm not sure if I've said it on the podcast, but I've definitely said it on my social media. I forget how powerful it is, and what reminds me of it is when we open a new store and I get to meet people in person and they're coming in to shop with us maybe for the first time, because a lot of people are too scared to shop online these days. So maybe when we open up a new store, they will come to our store and that's the first time that they're shopping with us, which is so cool. And it's then when I'm out in the real world meeting people, meeting customers, that I'm reminded that what we're doing is actually really fucking cool, and it's not something that a lot of brands are doing, because I have customers come in, let's say they're a size 20 and they're going around our store, they're picking things off the racks. I'm watching them go into the change room. I'm watching them step out. They've got tears rolling down their eyes because they have been able to find jeans that fit them amazingly. And they say, like, this is everything to me. Like, this has absolutely changed the game for me. And it's at that point that I go, shit, what we're doing is actually really cool. And I think it's just something that I forget, I guess, because I'm in that FAYT bubble, and we've had our Newcastle store for over 4 years, and we just always have people of all different shapes and sizes coming and going into our stores. I forget that that's not the way that it is everywhere else. And that's just something that I thought it was worth touching on. I never like to say that we are a brand that's doing everything at the absolute most and that we're the best, but I definitely do think that we are doing a lot of great things that a lot of other brands aren't. So why are we one of the only brands that does this? There's a lot of reasons why other brands maybe don't. Number one, I don't think we should put pressure on smaller brands to be able to do what we are doing. It's not, especially if someone's starting up a business by themselves, they simply can't afford to make the risk of coming out with all these sizes straight off the bat. But I think more so in Caitlin's messages, she's probably asking about the bigger brands. She's asked, is it the cost of material in making bigger sizes? Yes. If I'm being completely just straightforward and honest with you, the more sizes that you're doing, the more fabric that you're using, and the more it's going to cost. But I always look at it like, if any big brand out there used that as an excuse, especially if they're bigger than FAYT or been around a lot longer than we have, I don't see that as an excuse, because I'm single-handedly funding this business myself, and there's brands out there that would have investors and all sorts of capital. So I know brands have used that excuse in the past. Oh, it's just too much fabric and it's too much of a risk with the cost. That's a load of shit. Caitlin also said, is it, and I hate to say it, reputation and only wanting to target a demographic of smaller bodied people? And I get where she's coming with that, saying she hates to say it, but I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why brands don't do extended sizing. I feel like I'm going to be pissing off so many people with this episode. But I definitely think there's obviously a lot of fat phobia in the world, and especially in the fashion industry. And brands do want to have a certain look, which is sad, and it makes no sense to me at all. But I'd say that in itself would have to be one of the biggest reasons why certain brands only go to a certain size, especially if they're a large business. It's not because they can't afford it. It's not because the customers aren't there. There's no demand. Like, trust me, there is the demand, because I'm living proof of it. I think the number one reason is because they don't want bigger bodied people to be seen in their clothes because it doesn't fit their aesthetic. But what has opened my eyes is owning our retail stores, seeing how not included a lot of people are, especially when it comes to in-store shopping. If a brand is only going to a size large or extra large or whatever, and especially if it's a physical retail store, that is that brand saying, sorry, like, if you're a size bigger, 2 sizes bigger, 3 sizes bigger, you are literally not welcome in here. And I have always said I could never own retail stores if I only went to a certain size, because how could you live with yourself? How could you live with yourself if you're like, oh, we only go to a 14? Sorry, if you're a size 16, 18, 20, you can't come in here. And then it creates this whole thing of friends not being able to shop with one another, because what if one of them is a size 6, but the other friend is a size 18? They then can't go shopping together in the same shop. Like the size 18 friend would just have to then awkwardly be in the shop, but know that they can't find their size on the rack. And that's why our stores are so special. We have experienced fat phobia from people walking past our stores, and people have said things to me. For example, when we open our stores, I'm always there at the opening kind of thing. And when we open our Westfield Miranda store in Sydney, I was there for like 2 weeks, and I always was like standing out the front and like saying hello to people and welcoming them in, because I was just like so happy to be there and welcoming people in. And just me alone, I had 2 different instances, because we have mannequins in the window, and one mannequin is a size 6 and the other one's like a size 14, so like an average size. And I had 2 separate women walk past and look up at the mannequin and look at me, and they said things to my face like, is this a shop for fat women? And like turning their nose up at it. And this, I experienced this in real life, like people saying, ugh, like yuck, when we've got this curvy mannequin that has big boobs. And that's just me. Like then our staff, when we did that opening, experienced a lot of fat phobia from people. A lady came in, and these are obviously people that are not in our community. Like the people that come in our community love it, but it's like random people that are coming in because we're in a Westfield. And our general manager, Elle, who was like a size 8, she was working there because it was like our store opening and whatever. And a lady, and it's always more like middle-aged ladies or a little bit older, like they don't get it. And she said to Elle, why are you working here? This is a shop for fat people. And Elle was like, you have missed the whole fucking point. Like, we obviously all know that fat phobia is a real thing in today's society, but working in fashion and doing the sizes that we do has opened my eyes to it in real life. And it's absolutely wild, because anyone that would look at our store and be like, oh, I'm not going to shop there because, you know, they do size 20 or whatever, like you have completely missed the point. And I think, especially for us, people that we hire, we don't hire people based on their body shape, obviously. But I think one really great thing that has come out of FAYT is, like, we do have women of all different shapes and sizes working for us in our warehouse, in our office, and in our stores. But I think it's been a really good lesson for our staff who are like naturally a size 6 and like really slim naturally and never had any kind of issues when it comes to shopping for clothes. Like, I've had my employees say to me, like, this has really opened my eyes to how much of a problem this actually is, because understandably, if you are a size 6 and you've been a size 6 your whole life and you've always just been able to go and get your size no matter what, your eyes aren't open to like the struggles that some people face, because you just don't know, like you have never experienced that. So I've received that kind of feedback from our staff as well, to be like, wow, this is really like opened my eyes to how excluded some people have felt when it comes to buying clothes. And that brings me on to Caitlin's next question. Is it ignorance of the demand? I'd say absolutely. I think more so it would be the previous question, like reputation and only wanting to target a demographic of smaller bodied people. I'd hands down say that, like, the big brands out there that stop at a size 14 or 16, they just simply don't want to do those sizes, which makes no sense to me at all. We're not a plus size brand. I am trying to bridge the gap in between this whole straight size and plus size thing. And even some stores now, you'll go into some stores and they'll have all their straight sizes, but then there'll be one little section in the store that has their plus sizes. And that, yes, you're doing something, like you're trying and you're including more people, but what is that saying that it's only a small little section of the shop and it's like shoved in the back corner? And like someone will go in and go, hey, I'm a size 18. Like, where's the size 18? It's like, oh, up there in the back corner. What is that saying? That's not being inclusive. That's trying to be maybe a little bit performative, but like pushing everyone into a corner. Whereas what we're doing with FAYT is just making it everyone being able to shop together. It's not small sizes and bigger sizes. It's just sizing. So is it ignorance of the demand, Caitlin asked. Perhaps it is. Perhaps some of these brands are owned by people that have been a size 6 their whole life and they're none the wiser. It could definitely be that as well. But in saying that, just like open your eyes, like go walk around, like go to a Westfield and look at you could do market research by literally going to a Westfield and walking around and looking at all the body shapes. Like you don't walk around Westfield and see everyone that looks like a size 6 beautiful Instagram model. Like you walk around and everyone is so diverse. So I don't understand why brands would ever say, oh, it's because there's no demand or whatever. And exactly, like look at FAYT and look at us and look at what we're doing. I have done it. Just me. And these brands are huge. If I can do it, anyone can, especially if they're bigger than me. Caitlin also asked, is it a manufacturing or design issue? It definitely can be. There would be certain manufacturers out there that wouldn't want to make a certain size for whatever reason, like maybe that's not how their business works or whatever. But again, if I have done it and if I have made connections over the years and built relationships and found manufacturers that are willing to do any size that I want, then I don't see why other bigger brands can't, especially when they would be way more well connected than I am. Like I'm still relatively new to this. And I even had, here's a bit of tea for you all. I had, and no shame to this person, I'm obviously not going to name names, but I had the owner of a women's fashion brand in Australia reach out to me, like just wanting to connect and whatever, and I'm all for that. And she straight up asked me, like, how are you coming out with so many sizes? Like, I can't seem to find manufacturers that want to. And it just blows my mind because this is someone that's been in business for like 15 plus years. And I'm like, I figured it out in the first couple of years. Like, you're not trying hard enough. Like, put in the work and do it. Like, you've got the experience, you've got the staff, like you can make it happen. Caitlin has also asked, does FAYT experience any losses by providing bigger sizes? Not at all. I think maybe the only loss that we would experience by offering more sizes, but it's not really a loss, is losing those customers that would think that they don't want to shop with us because they don't want to shop from a brand that does all those sizes, like those nasty women that have walked past me in our Westfield stores. But is that really a loss? Because I don't want those kinds of people shopping with me anyway, because they literally just don't get it. So I would say no, Caitlin, we do not experience any losses at all. Like, it's nothing but gains. And Caitlin's last question is, do you find that the bigger sizes in your brand sell just as much as the smaller sizes? Absolutely. It's a gamble when it comes to fashion, especially when we're coming out with new styles or things that we haven't made before. So it's always a bit of a guessing game when we are making a new style, you know, how many size 16s do we order and how many size 8s do we order? And that's a huge part of our job, is looking at the history of how many we sell in this, that and the other. But I think we've done a pretty good job at it. Our best-selling sizes in FAYT are sizes 14, 16 and then 18. Is that right, AJ? We've got AJ in the studio, and they're the most popular and quickest selling sizes, and they are in the middle. So like that in itself there is proof that then obviously there are sizes on either side of that are going to sell. And that's why I don't get when brands say, oh, the demand isn't there. Like, it absolutely is. All of our sizes sell. And we listen to our community a lot and learn from them about what kinds of styles they want to see us come out with. And that's the harder thing as well. When you are catering to such a broad range of sizes, it is hard to make a piece of clothing that every single size is going to love. Whereas maybe when brands are just, say, doing 6 to 12, like it's very niche, and they're like, we know that size 6 to 12 will like love this style, where it is more tricky when you are making one item in a bunch of different sizes, because not everyone's going to love it. So that's another huge part of our job as well, is we want to make all of our pieces in all of the sizes, but then I'm also mindful that like not everyone's going to feel comfortable in the exact same piece, but that's just a part of the business, I guess. One of the good things about us at FAYT and the kinds of styles that we make is we are most well known for making like your everyday capsule wardrobe basic pieces, like pieces that everyone is generally going to love and get a lot of wears out of. I know there's a lot of brands out there that are more specific, where they might be doing clubbing outfits or like skimpy bikinis. And I think doing something niche like that would definitely make it a lot harder, especially if you are catering to more sizes. The hard thing with fashion as well is sizing, and how people feel in their clothes is completely subjective and it's different for every person. And the crazy thing is as well, let's say, for example, we have a pair of jeans, and let's say we have 2 customers who are both a size 22. They come into our store, and these size 22 customers, let's say their body shape is even really similar. They could both try on that same pair of jeans. One could love it and one could hate it, because it all comes down to the individual and how they feel in a piece of clothing. And that's one thing that my eyes, again, have been really open to, is you can't make a size 22 pair of jeans and say every size 22 customer is going to absolutely love them. You know, someone could love it, someone could hate it. But we communicate a lot with our FAYT community. We even made a Facebook group just like 2 months ago, and it's called FAYT Society. And because we obviously have our social media and stuff, and people can comment on our social media and whatever, but we wanted to take it to the next level and have a place where our community could talk back to us. So we created this Facebook group literally 2 months ago, and we just put it up on our socials and said, join this group. We want to have a place where we can talk to you, but you can talk to us, and you can post your photos and everyone else can talk. And it's been like the highlight of our business this year so far. In 2 months, we've already got nearly 15,000 members, and it is absolutely popping off. And it's been great because it gives us an avenue where our customers can have that extra connection with us and they can have their say. And so now what we're doing in there is I'm posting like photos of all of our samples, being like, what do you think about this? I'm working on this for summer. And then they can all jump in and have their say. And it's just been amazing, because that's another thing. Like, I think with a lot of these bigger businesses that aren't doing more sizes, is they're not listening to the people. They're just coming out with what they want instead. So having that Facebook page has been the best thing that we've done this year. But another area that we get such valuable feedback from on our styles is in our stores, because we're not just having customers ordering online and getting it at home and trying it on home, and we don't get to hear what their feedback is. We've got our stores where customers come in, they're trying on stuff in front of us. They're stepping out of the change room. They're saying, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. And I think that's one of the most important parts of our business and our community, is that our customers do feel really open sharing their feedback with us. And I'm open to hearing that, because I started this business in the garage underneath my house and thought nothing of it. And I guess it was a selfish thing for me to start, because I wanted to start the business for me. But now it's about everyone else. Like, FAYT is no longer about me and what I want to do. I'm doing it for everyone that shops with us. I love being able to hear feedback from our community. So all in all, thank you so much, Caitlin, for sending through these questions. I don't have a definitive answer of why brands don't extend their sizing. It's a myriad of reasons. But at the end of the day, I guess all I can say to it is, if I, who funds this business alone, I don't have any investors or any sort of money, this or that getting given to me, if I can manage to do it all on my own, other brands that are bigger than us and have been around longer, fuck, why can't I talk? Just leave this in. There's no reason why they can't. There's no reason other than the fact that they don't want to, or they're too lazy to do their research and figure out how to make it happen. Mark my word in this podcast. See where I am in 5 years from now. FAYT's taken over. I'm waiting for us to get so big that one of them's going to come in and offer to buy us. Like, why are they not? Am I wrong, AJ? I couldn't. But you know what I mean? Like, they should be scared. I'm very passionate about this, in case you can't tell. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening, and thank you to Caitlin for sending through your questions. You have made this episode Amazing. My tip of the week, and this is a really good one, it's really going to help you all out. Join our Facebook group, which is FAYT Society on Facebook. Genuinely, it is the most positive thing I have seen on the internet in a long time. We have so many posts happening in there every day that we're like trying to slow it down, and it's just the most amazing, supportive community. Our customers are posting their outfit photos in there, and then it's just like hundreds of comments hyping everyone up, and that's what we just need to see more of in the world, especially with women supporting women, where we're so often pitted against one another when it comes to social media. Join our Facebook group if you want to have a positive experience and a safe space to be online. Anyway, my friends, that is all for today's episode. All the usual things. Make sure you subscribe. Rate me 5 stars, please. I upload new episodes every Monday, and I now have my bonus episodes on Wednesday. So I'll be in your ears on Wednesday. And until next time, what are you laughing at? Me saying I'll be in your ears?
You just told him it was on Wednesday twice in a row.
Oh, did I? I've been talking a lot. Forgive me. Until next time, as you all know, chase after your dreams as if they owe you money.